From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast, a Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, this is Hannah Mordo, and this is your News 8 Daily for Monday, September 29th. It is a hot Monday out there, the last few days of September, and it feels nothing like September. Feels much more like mid-July. We're going to have some sunshine, big warm-up, upper 80s. The good news is low humidity, so maybe get out and enjoy it. Breaking news, Governor Mike Braun says he will allow the execution of death row inmate Roy Lee Ward to move forward. This morning, the governor's office released a statement from Braun saying he would go along with last week's unanimous recommendation from the state parole board to deny clemency for Ward. The move paves the way for Ward to be put to death by lethal injection on October 10th. Ward is on death row for the 2001 rape and murder of 15-year-old Stacey Payne in Spencer County. There's no word yet on whether his attorneys will file appeals in federal courts. Police in Michigan say a former Marine smashed a pickup truck into a Mormon church, started shooting, and set the building on fire. The spree left at least 4 people dead and 8 more wounded. It happened late yesterday morning during a service in a chapel of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc. The police say hundreds of people were there when it happened.
I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what was going on, and I didn't know if we were going to have to get down because we couldn't see anybody to worship my Savior Jesus Christ, and I didn't expect this to happen, of course, and I've lost friends in there.
Police have named Thomas Sanford as the killer. Officers shot him to death. They have not said what his motive might have been. The mass shooting in Michigan follows an attack on a Catholic church in Minnesota last month. 2 children were killed there. The shootings have sparked conversations about safety at places of worship here in Indianapolis. The senior pastor of New Direction Church spoke to us about keeping his parishioners safe.
I think that there's definitely a heightened sense of awareness that there is no place that's off limits. There used to be a time where people saw houses of worship as sacred spaces, but I don't believe that anything is sacred in the eyes of some evil people.
Pastor Kenneth Sullivan Jr. says his church plans to host its 3rd active shooter training this year, next month. Congressional leaders from both parties are set to meet with President Trump today as they face tomorrow's deadline to pass a spending bill to avoid a government shutdown. Democrats are calling for an extension of the Affordable Care Act tax credits that are set to expire at the end of this year, saying insurance premiums will skyrocket for millions of Americans without an extension. Some Republican senators have signaled they might agree to such a move if more guardrails against abuse go into place. President Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu are set to meet today for peace talks on Gaza. Reed Binion reports on the potential deal to end the war.
The scars of war have left much of Gaza in ruins. Nearly 2 million Palestinians have been displaced within the enclave in the last 2 years.
It's madness, and it's ongoing.
The dire situation began after October 7, 2023, when Hamas militants waged brutal attacks across southern Israel, killing 1,200 people and kidnapping more than 250 others. Israel struck back, killing many more, but Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has vowed not to stop until Hamas is obliterated. As the 2nd anniversary approaches, there's mounting pressure around the world for peace.
It's looking like we have a deal on Gaza. It's a deal that will get the hostages back. It's going to be a deal that will end the war.
The Trump administration has proposed a 21-point peace plan that calls for Hamas to release all remaining hostages within 48 hours of an agreement and sets out a post-war roadmap for Gaza. That's according to a source familiar with the proposal. Netanyahu told Fox News Sunday talks are ongoing.
We want to free our hostages. We want to get rid of Hamas rule and have them disarmed.
The plan does not indicate U.S. support for a Palestinian state. Dozens of countries are now backing a Palestinian state, including the UK, France, and Canada.
Giving the Palestinians a state 1 mile from Jerusalem after October 7th is like giving Al-Qaeda a state 1 mile from New York City after September 11th.
Friday, Netanyahu spoke at the UN General Assembly, but scores of delegates walked out. I'm Reed Binion for Wish TV and WishTV.com.
Here in Indiana, a nonprofit is working to boost people who want to run for office without being part of a political party. The group is called Independent Indiana. News 8's Garrett Berquist talked to the group's leader on this week's episode of All Indiana Politics.
Former independent congressional candidate Nathan Gotch is the executive director of Independent Indiana. He tells me lack of voter awareness is probably the biggest barrier independent candidates face.
The first thing is just for me to be doing interviews like this so people across the state know that we exist. They hopefully will go to our website, independentindiana.org, sign up to get email updates as we unroll these different things in the coming weeks and months. So we want to make sure that if people want to run for office and they're thinking about doing it as an independent, that they have good information to make the best decision for them and for their community.
Do you plan to make any endorsements?
That's a good question. We are a nonprofit organization, so, there's certain restrictions that we have to follow. But I think ultimately what we can do is provide resources and provide information. And then if it comes to a place where, it's in line with what the IRS guidelines are, we certainly would consider that.
Now, voters consistently say that they want independent or third-party options, but as general elections approach, they tend to sort themselves back into their camps. And there have actually been some surveys that have found that for a lot of these voters, the overriding goal is ultimately keeping the other party out of power. How do you cut through that?
I think part of that is just people thinking that the independent candidate has a real chance. We think that one of the reasons why we haven't seen independents break through up at these larger races is because the restrictions on those candidates in Indiana are really burdensome. Just to give you an example, if you want to run as an independent for Congress, you need to get around 4,000 signatures. That's probably going to cost you about $70,000. The number for Republicans and Democrats, the signatures they need to collect is a little bit lower. It's 0. Statewide office is even more. So you've got to collect 8 times the number of signatures that Republicans and Democrats do if you want to run for governor or for U.S. Senate. If those rules change and we had a level playing field, I think you'd start to see more independents being more successful because they'd be able to run campaigns all the way through the campaign season, not have to worry about collecting signatures.
You can see in-depth interviews with the people behind the politics every Sunday morning at 9:30. Catch All Indiana Politics only on Wish TV. I'm Garrett Bergquist for Wish TV and WishTV.com.
Sports now. The Indiana Fever are not done yet. The season is alive thanks to a win. A victory over the Aces extends the semifinal series to a deciding Game 5 tomorrow. News 8's Colin Bailey went to Gainbridge Fieldhouse this morning, and even though the Fever are extremely short-handed, they just keep on winning.
That's kind of been the story of the season. Someone gets hurt, someone steps up. Someone gets hurt, someone steps up. I talked to COO and GM of the Indiana Fever, Amber Cox, yesterday, and she said kind of the theme of this team is resiliency. And we've seen that kind of with the whole team, especially 2 players, Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston. They helped fuel yesterday's win to force a Game 5 in Vegas tomorrow evening. Fever fans packed Gainbridge Fieldhouse Sunday afternoon as the theme of Red Out inside the game. The Fever beat the Aces 90-83. Kelsey Mitchell led the way with 25 points. Aaliyah Boston added 24 points and 14 rebounds, keeping the season alive despite Caitlin Clark and 4 other players being out with injuries. This is what head coach Stephanie White had to say after the game.
I just felt like we were much more aggressive. We weren't reacting to everything that they did. We talk about, 3 things: activity level, anticipation, and being aware of what happens on the floor. And I felt like we did that for most of the ball game.
The Fever have been here before. They forced a deciding game in their first round series, then beat the Atlanta Dream on the road to advance. If they can do it again, they'll head to their first WNBA Finals since 2015. And Game 5 tomorrow night, winner takes all. Fever and Aces will take place at 9:30 tomorrow in Las Vegas. For now, here outside of Gainbridge Fieldhouse in downtown Indy, I'm Colin Bailey for Wish TV and WishTV.com.
Fever fans are fired up about the win. News 8's Hernan Gutierrez talked to people outside in Gainbridge.
Fever fans were hyped after the Game 4 win, and some fans are ready to hit the slots in Las Vegas for Game 5.
Tied it up today. Everybody put in their best work they could have. And you know what? Fever's going to bring it back.
The Indiana Fever led for most of the game, going up by as much as 10 points. Some fans say the performance created an electric environment inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse.
I never felt nervous this game, honestly, and in my mind, we're playing with house money.
Team stars Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell both scored more than 20 points each. Despite injuries plaguing the Fever, fans say it's a prime example of this team's depth.
The team is showing that even without Caitlin Clark, they're still a team, and that's the bottom line. We got it.
This team is so strong. Caitlin, I think, got a lot of people's eyes on the team, but all the players that are playing in every game are the ones keeping the eyes on the team.
After the Game 4 win, Fever fans are hopeful to keep playing playoff basketball in Indianapolis.
I mean, Coach White's done a phenomenal job of pulling this team together, building this culture. Everybody who's injured is still here rooting the team on, and it's a delight to see.
Game 5 of the WNBA semifinals against the Las Vegas Aces will be Tuesday at 9:30. Reporting downtown, I'm Hernan Gutierrez for Wish TV and WishTV.com.
Stay with Wish TV. Our own Andrew Chernoff is in Vegas, and he's going to have you covered starting today at 5 o'clock. In Colts Watch, a painful callback to last season as the Colts lose for the first time this year. In the third quarter, A.D. Mitchell catches a pass and looks like he's on his way for an easy touchdown in Los Angeles, but he loses the ball as he tries to reach across the goal line. The ball comes out of his hands before it crossed the plane. That means it's a touchback and a turnover. It brings back some bad memories of Jonathan Taylor's dropped ball in Denver last season. Mitchell's fumble was far from the only mistake yesterday. The Colts lost to the Rams 27-20. News 8's Andrew Chernoff was in LA and caught up with the team after the game.
It was a tough Sunday for the Colts as they fall for the first time this season, losing by 7 here in LA to the Rams. The story of this one, mistakes, just self-inflicted wounds. The Colts turned the ball over 3 times and had 11 penalties. Yes, they had chances to win, but those self-inflicted wounds just proved to be too much.
Credit to the Rams. They found a way to win it at the end. We got to be better. Obviously, we hurt ourselves in a lot of situations with penalties. We got to take care of the football, and that starts with me. I thought our defense did a hell of a job bouncing back from that. And keep us in the game, and then obviously, go take the lead there. But obviously, we didn't do enough at the end to win it.
A lot of miscues, and a lot of that comes from the road, being on the road. But you got to fight through those things. You're going to be in loud environments. You're going to be in difficult situations, and those elite teams find a way to fight through all of those things to have clean execution. Those mistakes will kill you. At the end of the day, if you get beat, if you get outplayed, that's one thing. But when you kind of shoot yourself in the foot, that's another.
That was a common theme we heard in the locker room after this game, just self-inflicted mistakes. And there was no better example of that than A.D. Mitchell's performance here on Sunday. The wide receiver made 2 costly errors. He was about to score a touchdown, but fumbled the ball before crossing the goal line in the third quarter. And then in the fourth quarter, Jonathan Taylor scored on a long rushing touchdown, but that was wiped out by a Mitchell holding penalty. Those 14 points proved to be massive as the Colts only lost by 7. At SoFi Stadium, Andrew Chernoff, Wish TV, and WishTV.com.
One of the biggest artists in the world will perform the halftime show at the Super Bowl next year. The NFL and Apple Music say hip-hop star Bad Bunny will headline. Bad Bunny has some big shoes to fill. Last season's halftime show featured Kendrick Lamar. It won an Emmy for Outstanding Music Direction. It was also the most watched Super Bowl in halftime history. Super Bowl 60 is set for February 8th next year at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, California. Indiana Hoosiers are undefeated and once again in the top 10 in the latest college football rankings. IU jumped 3 spots to number 8 in the AP poll. Team scored a late touchdown to beat Iowa on the road 20-15. IU is now 5-0 on the season. Hoosiers are off this week, but back in action the following weekend, October 11th, in a showdown with the current number 2 team, the Oregon Ducks. Notre Dame climbed 1 spot to number 21 in the new poll. Irish scored a lopsided 56-13 win over Arkansas on Saturday. Irish host Boise State this Saturday at Notre Dame. In case you missed it, the Indianapolis Indians are launching a total overhaul of their look. The team unveiled new hats, jerseys, and logos for next season. They include a new interlocking Indy monogram, a new letter I, and a new design for the word Indians, including some hidden nods to the past, and that includes a cursive I that the team used when it was a minor league dynasty in the 1980s. The primary logo is new, too. It includes a 1902, the year that the team started playing, a vintage-looking I, and a red ribbon or trim around the outside, honoring the Miami Nation of Indians, which collaborated on the designs. This has been your News 8 Daily from Wish TV. I'm Hannah Mordeau. Watch us on Wish TV and WishTV.com.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast, a Wish TV News 8 update on demand. For even more, on demand and on the go. Connect with Wish TV on Facebook at WishTV.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening. And be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.